Hey, what's going on, guys? This is episode 1 of my new weekly Watchlist series, where in each episode I'll be giving you guys my focus list for the upcoming week, and also in the description below I'll also be linking my top 200 stocks based on fundamentals for this week. So in this series I'll be analyzing both the fundamentals and technicals of these stocks so that you can kind of learn from my method and hopefully improve your trading as a result. And I also want to mention that I've been given kind of early access to the IBD stock screener, which is a new feature where you can kind of sort through their stock lists and hopefully their entire stock database. So expect a full review of that in an upcoming video. But getting back to this new series, let's go ahead and jump in and look at the fundamentals of all these stocks. Starting with SolarEdge, you can see that it's got a really good composite rating of 99 as well as a 99 relative strength rating, but its EPS isn't that good at 85, and you can kind of see why over here. The past couple of quarters it hasn't had particularly strong EPS, but its sales are a little bit better. As you'll see, it had a 43% sales increase last quarter, and also the average over 2 quarters was 36, so pretty good sales numbers. As you can see, it also has a fantastic return on equity of 32.8%, and it is also on the IBD top 50. Now looking at OLED, which is number 8 on my fundamental ranking scale, you can see that similarly, it has fantastic IBD ratings of 97, 98, and 98. And its EPS is fantastic. Look at these big jumps these past 2 quarters. So overall, a very strong stock that has had pretty good numbers, and its sales last quarter, look at that, 110% jump, and the average has been 105%. So really fantastic EPS and sales recently. It is also on the IBD top 50 list, but as you can see, its return on equity isn't quite as good as SolarEdge, and it's only 8.7%. And really, we want to be looking for kind of 15% and above in that category. So I do wish that this was a little bit higher. Jumping now to Twitter, we can see that it is ranked number 19 based on my fundamentals, and it has had really good EPS, and its overall rating is a 99, which is pretty good, but it hasn't been doing quite as good in terms of relative strength. But you can clearly see why its EPS rating is 99. It had a huge jump last quarter of over 800%, and overall it's just been really strong with EPS. Its sales numbers aren't quite as good as its EPS, but still they're okay. And it has a okay return on equity, 11.2%, but it is not on the IBD top 50. Now looking at Northrop Grumman, you can see that it has a composite rating of 99, which is very good, an EPS of very good, 97, and a decent relative strength of 93. Its EPS over the past couple quarters has been very consistent of over 30%, which is excellent, and its sales numbers are also okay at 19% and an average of 20.2% over the past 2 quarters, which is decent. But as you can see, it really shines when it comes to return on equity because 40.9% is fantastic, but it isn't currently on the IBD top 50 list. Now looking at iFi, you can see that it has an overall rating of 98, an EPS rating of 96, and a relative strength rating of 98. So overall, very good numbers from IBD. Its EPS is pretty decent and had a huge jump last quarter, and over the past couple quarters, it's been doing pretty well overall. I like its estimate of this current year of 73%. That's very good. And its sales are decent at 24%, and then an average over the past 2 quarters of 30%. It has a return on equity of okay at 10, and it is not on the IBD top 50 list. Now looking at CoStar Group, you can see that IBD really likes it. It's got 99, 97, and 96 for the ratings. And its EPS has been very steady of at least above 30% the past couple quarters, and 2 quarters ago it was very good at 125. Its sales numbers are just kind of okay at around 16, and its return on equity is okay at 10.6%, and it is not on the IBD top 50 list. Now looking at ACGL, you can see that it has a very good composite rating and has an EPS rating of 82 and a relative strength rating of 93. Its EPS has been not great over the past few quarters, but its sales are pretty decent at 26 and 30.1% percent change over the past couple quarters. It also has an okay return on equity of 10.2%, and it is on the IBD top 50 list. Now looking at BLD, you can see its composite ratings are very high, and its EPS has been very steady of at least over 35% over the past couple quarters, which is excellent. Its sales numbers are not great. You can see that it was 9% change and then 17.5% change over the past 2 quarters. So not great in that regard, but its return on equity is decent at 14.4%, but it is not on the IBD top 50 list. And now getting to the end of it, let's look at NAPCO Security. You can see that it has pretty high IBD ratings, especially that relative strength number, and its EPS has been very, very good over the past couple quarters with a 70% increase in the past quarter. So definitely something that we look at there. And its sales hasn't been quite as good as the EPS, around 13%, but it has a decent return on equity of 12.3%, and it is not on the IBD top 50 list. Now looking at Arrowhead Pharmaceuticals, you can see that its composite rating is decent at 95, and its relative strength has been very good at 99. It is a pharmaceutical company, so it doesn't really have EPS numbers, but its sales numbers are off the charts. Look at that huge increase the last quarter, and the average is just as good. However, its return on equity is poor, and it is not on the IBD top 50 list. And finally, looking at LSCC, you can see that it has very good IBD ratings. Its EPS has been very, very solid, and its sales aren't that great, as you can see, and its return on equity is very good at 16.8%. That's what we look for, but it is not on the IBD top 50. Moving over to TC2000, I just kind of want to explain how I streamline this process. After I paste a bunch of stocks from my fundamental watch list, I use the scan function of TC2000, and right now I'm looking for a yellow band stock, which you can learn all about in my previous video, which will be linked up in the right hand corner. And I also look for a green dot indicator within the last 3 bars. And that leaves us with about 50 stocks, which then I go through and look at each manually. Going through these quickly, you can see that ACGL had a PGO indicator recently, and hopefully next week it will continue this uptrend. ARWR shows a very similar pattern. You can see it had a PGO indicator, and it is right above this green line breakout, which it first started in 2014. So if it can continue to increase on volume, that would definitely be a promising sign. BLD similarly just had a green line breakout, and it had a green dot right here. You can't see it. It's actually hidden by the purple dot, but that's a promising sign, and I hope to see more volume just like this spike right here. And if it can really have that volume, I believe it can really take off. CSGP is kind of settling down. It's having less and less volatility right here, and also a decrease in volume as well. So hopefully it can really come out of this Bollinger Band squeeze and push up strongly. Looking now at IFI, you can see that it is now resting a bit after this big run right here of 50%. So hopefully it can break past the 30-day moving average and continue to increase. LSCC is on an incredible run. You can see that it's increased almost 350% just this year alone. So hopefully after this big jump on earnings and then this consolidation right here, it can continue to move upwards. Northrop Grumman similarly had a big jump on earnings with all this volume coming in, and after this kind of volatility contraction right here, I hope to see it continue to move upwards on increased volume. NSCC is kind of forming a cup pattern right here, so hopefully after breaking out to new highs, it can increase on volume as well. OLED is similarly above its last green line, and I hope to see it rise out of this consolidation on increased volume, because you can see that volume has really been contracting over the course of the past couple of weeks. So hopefully, as I said, it can rise on increased volume, because And getting down to it, SolarEdge, you can see that similarly to a couple of these other stocks, it gapped up on huge volume after its earnings report and then has been consolidating a little bit. So I would wait until it finally starts moving up and confirms the uptrend on volume. And finally, Twitter, you can see that it is not actually near new highs yet. You can see that it peaked in 2015, but it's making good gains, and I hope to see it rise after this green dot on increased volume. So once again, here's my focus list for this week, and I'll have a link in the description with the information for these stocks and also the top 200 of my fundamental ranking scale. So take full advantage of those lists, and I hope to see you guys do well in the upcoming week. Thanks so much for watching, and see you guys in future videos.